My name is Chelsea Guo. I'm a classical pianist studying at Juilliard, and I'm also a classical soprano. In this video, I'm going to be attempting to sing some of Chopin's most famous melodies.
Chelsea Guo is a bit of a mythical creature. Part pianist, part soprano. She's the only person I know who, on the one hand, can enter the International Chopin competition in Warsaw, and on the other could sing Puccini's La Bohème. So one thing piano teachers really like to say is that in order to play Chopin well, you have to imitate opera singers. Here in northern Italy, 200 years ago, composers like Bellini were writing the bel canto operas that would inspire Chopin just a decade later. So I thought, what would it sound like if an opera singer tried to sing some of Chopin's most famous melodies? I was lucky enough to hear Chelsea perform in this Cremona Musica festival in Cremona. She played a program of works for solo piano and also some art song and arias, which she accompanies herself at the piano like a freak.
But when we did these Chopin takes, I decided not to accompany myself for these melodies because it turns out that singing Chopin is pretty hard.
So what is the first melody that we tried to sing here?
This is the first theme of the first movement of Chopin's first piano concerto in E minor.
Let's roll.
So of course, there's that gorgeous phrase on the piano, which is probably singable with a little more practice, but that augmented second right there, that makes this run so beautiful, makes it really tricky to sing. That's a very strange interval to throw into a run of mostly major and minor seconds. And of course I had to modify it because that high A is not in my range, and I think is in very few people's range. And also, he writes these runs in very odd numbers, right? This is in 21. This is 21 notes fit into a bar of 3/4. If you were trying to keep this in time as a singer, I think that would be very difficult and probably not very beautiful.
So you don't just do 7 against 2, 7 against 2, 7 against 2? Just do the math in your head.
You're right. I'm bad at math. That's
well,
why I'm a
singer.
musician.
Yeah.
I'm actually very good at math.
Chopin's ornaments, there's something an opera singer might add as an embellishment, but it's almost like an alien singer. It's this superhuman kind of voice.
I think there's a quote somewhere that he said the piano can do what 1,000 singers can do. No singer's going to sing a run that looks like this in real life.
Have you ever seen the movie The Fifth Element?
No.
Okay, it's because it's from before your time. It was a 90s movie. It has Bruce Willis in it.
Okay.
And, you know, there's aliens. And there's this amazing scene with a singer who has a freakish, superhuman voice. And she's singing something like The Queen of the Night, but it's like even higher up and doing... I think that creature could sing Chopin.
I think that creature could sing Chopin. This creature can't sing Chopin. So you can see I got to that little rest, and I thought to myself, I should take the rest, but then I immediately regretted it because that's a terrible place vocally to take a rest and without preparation, spontaneously.
Now, I found this quite vocal.
Oh yeah.
But this not at all.
Oh yeah. This rundown, the 7 rundown, is quite typical in vocal writing. Although, of course, you can see that this is quite a range for a soprano to be singing within one measure, which is why it sounded a little funky. But this sounded funkier. And that's because it's not musical to do ya da 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 dum ba da. So I went ya da 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 da. But that means that there was not really an anchor note here, which also led to this little blip up here. But that brings home the point that just because someone might sing it like that doesn't mean that one should necessarily play it like that. Some things sound good on the piano, and the instrument is able to offer things that a voice can't. And the voice is able to offer things that a piano can't, which is why it's important to keep both in mind. There's an example of an anchor. When you have an interval like that, it's important to really anchor on the lower one so that the top one doesn't fly off the handle.
What a piano teacher would say here is that, if their student went and just did that really quickly, it would be unnatural because it would be not something that you could sing.
Vocal technique is actually, I think, what taught me most about playing piano. The treatment of the physicality of singing. So fun fact, my teacher actually makes me do these in my middle voice, these little chromatic scales. What it feels like is a sigh. And I think that if you were to put it in vocal writing, that would be how it functions almost. This kind of expression of taking a deep breath or sinking into something. And so I think that's such a cool moment. I love it, even though it sounded kind of bad.
Let's move on from the concerto.
Let's do nocturnes.
Let's do nocturnes. Now, nocturnes, I think, are really important to do because I think they typify this kind of bel canto operatic style that Chopin is so influenced by.
Oh yeah, definitely. Typify. It was a G natural. Can you tell I'm just a wannabe mezzo? 22 notes, chromatic notes are a lot to sing. But if I had practiced it a little bit more, if I had a little more time to practice it, I think it would be really beautiful.
Well, you have to practice for your recital. I mean, clearly you prioritize your recital more than you prioritize
you know what?
video.
You know what? I had an hour 15 to warm up this morning, and I spent a good 20 of them to just try to work through some of this.
Wow, 20 whole minutes.
20 whole minutes.
And I'm going to spend 20 hours editing this.
I'm sorry. So that's interesting because that's a lower voice, obviously.
Oh, I should have come in there with the mezzo part, the alto part.
But I think that most people hear it as the way that I sang it, and I noticed that after I sang it, I was like, that's actually not the voice that I'm supposed to be following.
Well, when we play this on the piano, then we should actually make that A flat connect to the G flat, and then have this be a second voice. That would be very beautiful.
That would be
rather
really
than
beautiful.
Making it seem like this is all just one linear
But
thing.
I don't think the way to do it is to hammer that out and then lower the mezzo tone. I think the mezzo is the star when she comes in there, and the soprano intentionally backs out and joins back together on that G flat. I'm a real mezzo. That's something I think is really beautiful is, and I think that's something that on piano with the rubato, you don't want to take that much time everywhere. I'm taking a lot of time, as you can tell.
Do you think if a pianist imitates a singer's rubato too much, it actually would sound too indulgent?
I think that's up to personal taste. I mean, you really can't. How can you say objectively something is too much or too little?
Well, there's good taste and there's bad taste.
Yeah, but your good taste is defined by you.
I'm not a relativist.
Beautiful thing about these staccato, the staccato with the slur over it.
It's portato, according
Oh
to Seymour.
yeah, oh yes,
Yeah.
portato.
That's what Seymour Bernstein reminded me. In fact, in this very nocturne, he said,
You know, that's portato.
I'm such a bad musician, and
"No,
you are too.
Me too. We're such idiots. I didn't learn anything at Juilliard."
I didn't learn anything at Juilliard.
Ben and Chelsea learned a lot at Juilliard and are very thankful for the teachers they had there.
I do think that this figure, if it were put into vocal context, might be a word that wants to that the syllables are emphasized.
Like, what kind of word do you think that would be?
I don't know any Polish.
I love this part on the piano because it goes all the way to the very top of the keyboard, and it comes down like sprinkly glitter dust.
I know. Wow.
I don't think that's vocal though. It's almost more like a harp or very
exactly.
instrumental.
What makes it magical is that jump to a higher register and then floating down, right? So you're right in that it's really not vocal because it's not something that, first of all, can be sung and wouldn't sound good sung.
Unless an alien is singing it.
Unless you're alien.
My alien.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I should never do that again.
Moving forward. That was a special moment there.
That was gorgeous. What I love about that whole phrase right here, that special moment, and then the B natural turning to B flat, is I could totally see that being a vocal expression. And not just like a vocal expression as, oh, that would sound nice sung. But the text, it makes sense. What I love about Chopin in his music is that it really narrates. There is a real human intention behind everything he writes, even though it doesn't have words attached to it.
It's like you're playing the subtext, not the text itself. You're playing the deeper meaning, and so you don't actually need the actual word there. Right,
you're playing the intention. You're playing the heart behind it. And this is not to say that singing is less than piano music at all, in my opinion. But this is just to say that I appreciate even more that composers like Chopin, who were such pianist composers, were able to write things that didn't really need all of that text.
Okay, let's do one more nocturne.
Okay. Oh, sorry, you were talking to the sorry.
Clearly, very excited. No, I'm talking to you. You're the only one here. Oh, wait, you guys are here. Hey, YouTube. Say hi to YouTube.
Hello. I think this is a great moment to talk about tessitura.
Oh, okay.
Which is you
asked... Who's that?
This tessitura is high for me. And what that means is you look at this and you say, technically, yeah, that looks like in soprano range. But the thing is that that's where if I'm floating there, that's too high. So I asked you whether or not we could transpose this down. And I mean,
to A flat.
I mean, it would have been a cool experiment.
And what did I say?
And you said, I can't transpose.
I can't do that. I'm not a good enough musician.
I wasn't going to out you like that, but you did it yourself.
I mean, what I should have done was practiced it really hard in A flat and then pretended like I was just doing it on the spot. Oh. Yeah. I just want to stop and say this already sounds so much more dramatic than it ever does on the piano.
Oh, yeah.
But I think this shows that we should give some time there to really show that reach up an octave, right?
In a vocal piece, that would not be unprompted. There would have to be good reason to write something like that. And it would really have to be, it could be the ending of an aria. It could be the moment in the opera that like someone dies. I guess if they're dying, they're not singing. Actually, that is not true.
I'm sure there's operas where dead people are singing.
Almost every opera has dead people singing. see if I anchor.
That was
So you can
awesome.
see-
That sounded amazing.
So you can see the B flat had a lot more tone than
Like
the previous
core?
yeah, and a lot more like actual
So-
support.
Your D was very loud. Would a soprano aspire to be able to make a leap up that high and actually stay soft? I feel like singing high and soft is one of the hardest things you can do, right? Because a pianist will
yeah.
sometimes back off on
But
that high D,
again,
and
that's
it's
something
beautiful.
that's something that the pianist could do much more easily
Mm-hmm.
than a singer could. And I think that it would be great if you could find a lighter soprano that would be able to do that. But for me, that G is already edging into the top of my range.
Mm-hmm.
And so, no.
What should we do next? I would love to do all the nocturnes. There's so many others that are really operatic. But I
Yeah.
think we should move on. You suggested a really beautiful mazurka.
I was really worried for this one. And I'll tell you why later. Not me looking concerned.
I could have done that better.
We could have done all of this, but
That's hard.
so what's beautiful about that is the turn, and that's what makes it, I think, vocal. It's not the scale or it's up or down. It's a ya-da-da-da-da-da-da, ya-da-da-da-da.
And then it gets pretty wild here. I mean, okay,
Yeah.
so not so vocal. However, you introduced me to a really beautiful recording. I have to admit, I don't know this pianist. I feel
Me neither.
somebody watching is going to be like, you don't know Marilla Jonas? But
Yes.
what a beautiful
They will say that.
recording. And this precise moment, now, as pianistic as it is, because it's just like wagging back and forth, who sings that way? And yet, the way she sings is very vocal, like it's like Ella Fitzgerald scatting.
Yeah, definitely. That was a good scat.
Is that good?
Good job.
Maybe I should sing this one.
Why did you even ask me to do this?
I don't know. I could have just done this one on my own.
Yeah.
Da-ba-doo-ba-da. I think we have
Yeah.
one final
We
piece
do?
we sang, and it's the Prelude.
Do you think we could go a little faster?
Okay. You know, you stopped me there, but I thought that sounded so beautiful. Maybe you just need to take more breaths.
I think that's definitely an option. And actually, I worked with a wonderful singer, Barbara Bonney, who always would tell me that it's not a competition or a race to see who can hold the longest phrase. But I do think that there's a beauty in choosing where to take breaths. And I think that was a beautiful aesthetic, just not what I was necessarily going for.
I like it moving, actually, and I think that's what we end up doing. We have to. You wanted to get there.
Yeah. And then I wanted to capture the turn in one phrase.
We did that very beautifully.
I think so. I wanted that to be a new breath stream. If I could have it my way, that would have been in the same breath.
I kept up with you there. To your satisfaction.
Yeah. You wanted to be alone, but I didn't let you.
But you convinced me that this should also be sung. You can see how that could sound very nice if just the piano.
Definitely.
Because then your last chord, your last note
maybe
is this
I
chord.
wouldn't have done that if I had listened to you.
Did you go?
I did. I go in the end.
Let me hear that again. Oh God, yeah. It was so beautiful till then.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
We should mention that we're
we were doing illegal activity.
We're in a room that's about to be used by.
Yeah, we were very afraid of being.
We're in the
kicked out.
Fazioli room at this Cremona Musica exhibition,
And the worst part is, I know they wanted to kick us out, but they felt bad.
Yeah,
And
also
so
because you were a distinguished recitalist
I
just
had
earlier in
just
the day,
performed there earlier.
so they can't kick out.
Yeah, but they wanted to. So that's what made me feel like.
At first, they were like, "Oh, this is beautiful. Let's watch," and then pretty soon they were like, "When are these people gonna leave?"
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But you know what?
I would have done the same.
We did it.
Yeah, we did. I need to breathe somewhere. I totally did not take a breath. Okay, sorry.